Hello learners, welcome to NeenvIAS. My name is Kshitij Dhiman and I am the faculty for Science and Technology. In this session today, we are going to discuss the questions that were asked in Prelims 2024. Right? And we are going to discuss the solution and analysis. Now, what do I mean by this? We are not going to just tell you which option is correct from A, B, C or D. But we are also going to discuss the source. We are also going to see a little bit of analysis if the question is hard, if it is, on the easier side. So let's begin. The first thing which I wish to show you is the analysis of the questions that have come in the previous years. Let's start with year 2017. In the year 2017, there were 8 questions, and after that 13, 14, 13, 12, 14, 8 and 10. Now this is the figure for this year. From this analysis, I think you can draw this conclusion very easily that science and tech will easily give you around 10% of the paper, right? So this is not a topic that you can leave in your preparation or rely on luck. So the thing is, this section, the science and technology section, has a very good return on investment. A very good return on investment, which is a very favorite term for UPSC aspirants. The return on investment of this subject is quite good. If you prepare well, you can answer most of the questions and with good accuracy. So the first question, let us see that. The first question says, consider the following statements. This is a statement type question. First statement is, giant stars live much longer than dwarf stars. Right? So the question is of comparison between, the first statement is of comparison between the giant and the dwarf stars. The second says, again with a comparison, that compared to dwarf stars, giant stars have greater rate of nuclear reactions, right? So the keyword in this statement is greater rate. Of course, there is a comparison, but greater rate. Now, what do you mean by greater rate? Greater rate means frequency of something which is happening. So the rate is frequency of something. So greater rate, that means a lot of nuclear reactions will be happening. So before looking at the answer, before trying to solve it, let us see the concept behind it. So the concept is the life cycle of stars. The stars start from this, the nebula. This is made of dust and various gases, right? This is how a star forms. We are talking about stars. Now the star which is closer to the mass of our own sun, that will develop into a red giant, and the star which is more than 4 or 5 times, or let's say 25 times heavier than our sun, that will become a supergiant, right? And the red giant, that ends with a white dwarf. The red supergiant, it ends as a neutron star or a black hole, right? So this is a very basic concept which we study in astronomy section of the science and technology. But now let us see the question. So you have understood what are the dwarf stars and giant stars. So these are the two things which are being compared in this question. So the question is asking about rate of nuclear reactions, and in the first one about the life. Now let us understand this. So the point is, if you think logically in a normal logic, you will try to think that, okay, it's a big star, right? It should live longer because it will have more fuel for nuclear reactions, more hydrogen for nuclear fusions, right? So hydrogen joins to become helium in this nuclear reaction, and then heat is given, heat and light and other radiation. So the point is, you will think that it has more fuel, so it will live longer, but that is not the case. Why? Because of a very crucial thing called gravity. the heavier the star, the more gravity it has. Now gravity pulls things towards itself. So it will pull the cloud of dust, right, which is the storm, which is forming the sun. The hydrogen and other gases will be pulled inside, they will be pressurized, and more nuclear fusion will happen, right? So more the gravity, more nuclear reactions, right? So in this way, if it does not have lot of mass, it will have lower gravity than the supergiants. So this is the point. Gravity is the crucial factor. Bigger star have more mass. I have a simple equation prepared for you. More mass, more gravity, more pressure, and it leads to more nuclear reactions, right? So now we have understood this. Let us go here. Let us see the second statement first. Compared to dwarf stars, giant stars, this will have more gravity, hence more nuclear reaction. So this is correct. Statement 2 is correct. So now statement 1, giant stars live much longer than dwarf stars. I just told you, more nuclear reactions, more fuel will be used, lesser the life. So this is wrong, right? So this eliminates directly this. The D option is the correct one, right? Now before we go to the second question, I want you to understand one logical thing which you can use in examination. So in examination point of view, if we think this option, these two statements, they are arranged in such a way that they are opposite to each other, because if giant stars live much longer, then of course the nuclear reaction and their rate will be less, right? Because they have limited fuel, the stars have limited fuel. So obviously they are going to live longer if they use less fuel. So if you see from logic, just examination logic, you will understand these two are opposite to each other. Now what does this mean? This means that one of this statement is right. So this will eliminate A and B. Option A and B will be eliminated by this examination logic. Now this is not something which we are going to tell you about every question. This is just to help you, to bring you to some solution. We will not be able to, or you will not be able to judge the answer from this only. You need the concept. So UPSC is also very smart. It is trying to eliminate the elimination technique. So they want you to study, of course, and without studying, you cannot solve this. All right. So the analysis part of this question says that this is purely static and difficulty is medium because it's not an easy question. And the answer we have already discussed, which is D, right? Let us see the second question. In the second question, it says which one of the following is the exhaust pipe emission from a fuel cell electric vehicle powered by hydrogen. Now, electrical vehicles, abbreviated as EVs, they have been in news a lot, maybe due to their battery issues, or EVs are burning in India's hot temperature. So one of the other reason, EVs are in news, and EVs also have different technologies. They are based on battery plus other fuels like ICE engine, combustion engine, or battery, just battery, complete electrical, and fuels, fuel cell EV. Right. So there are different type of electrical vehicles also. Now let us see the concept of fuel cell electrical vehicles just briefly, which whatever is relevant for this paper, right, for this question. So this is how the structure looks. Now in the structure we have a hydrogen fuel tank which stores the fuel, and it will react with oxygen in a fuel cell. So there is a tank of hydrogen. Hydrogen is stored just like we usually fill petrol in our vehicles. Similarly, hydrogen is filled in a tank. Now that hydrogen will react with oxygen from the air in a fuel cell, and that produces electricity, and that is the question, right? So hydrogen plus oxygen leads to water vapor plus electricity. Right? So this is produced and the electricity goes to the electric motor directly. This battery is there, but it is mostly for smooth acceleration and emergency cases. So most of the electricity comes from this hydrogen tank and battery is recharged in the meantime, right? So this is the thing. The electricity is generated by hydrogen, right? And the reaction gives water vapor. All right. So I think now we can see the answer. Answer is water vapor. It is not hydrogen peroxide, not hydronium, not oxygen. So if we see the other examples, can we eliminate something? Yeah, I think, because hydrogen peroxide, that chemical is used in school laboratories a lot of time, right? So that chemical can be eliminated, right? Its formula is H2O2 and it can be eliminated. Also, many people may know it's a famous chemical. It is used for antiseptic purposes. Hydronium, this is used in skin diseases. Like acne. Right. So this is how we can eliminate. If you knew one, you can eliminate hydrogen peroxide. I think safely you can eliminate oxygen, right? But of course, I think it's an easy question. Let's come to the analysis. I think it's an easy question because we read this in alternate energies in science and technology and in environmental subject both. So this was a fairly easy question. All right. So I have discussed everything which is written over here for your help. You can learn from this. One thing which I want to mention, that it is current affair based. So the thing is, why this was asked. Let me tell you the source. Now for many questions we have done this. Why? Because I wish to share the source, which means you can understand the mentality of UPSC. Because previous year questions are the roadmap to mind map of UPSC, right? Roadmap to mind map of UPSC. So you can understand that from this headline, this hydrogen based fuel cell was picked up. This was a news in February 2024. Prime Minister Modi had flagged off the first indigenous, that means Indian made hydrogen fuel cell ferry. So this was in news and this was expected, right? I hope you have done it correctly. Now this question is about defense equipment and they have not asked missile this time, they have asked about fighter jets. So the question says, consider the following aircrafts. There is a spelling mistake in the paper itself. It is Rafale. First is Rafale, second is MiG-29, third is Tejas, Mk1, Mark 1. How many of the above are considered fifth generation fighter aircrafts? Only one, only two, all three, none, right? So what is fifth generation fighter aircraft? Let us see the concept first behind this question. Now fifth generation aircraft is having various features which makes it much better than fourth generation or 4.5th generation aircrafts. It has excellent stealth capability. Basically, it can hide like a black cat on a moonless night. So it has very good stealth properties. It can hide from radar very efficiently. It's made in such a way with the material that is used, the paint that is applied and how it is structured. The stealth is excellent. They are developed in such a way that they want to shoot first before getting detected. If let's say enemy aircraft is flying, they'll come from the side or wherever and then they will shoot the aircraft first even before the radar of aircraft can detect them. That level of stealth it has. Secondly, the electronics, the avionics, that is the aircraft's electronics are so sophisticated and their sensors are very sensitive. So they collect all the data from across the aircraft and that is displayed on the helmet of the pilot. It is called heads up display. Again, not relevant right now. I'm just telling you the features. Also, they can fly for a longer time and with efficient fuel efficiency. And one more thing, when they fly on supersonic speeds, they don't use the afterburner. Now we don't need to get into this term right now, but the point is afterburner makes an aircraft easy in detection. It makes easier to detect the aircraft if you are using afterburner. So they don't use afterburner for supersonic flights. So this is the generation and its description. So there are two ways to solve this question. First, if you know the aircrafts which are there in 5th generation, or you know the countries that have developed various aircrafts. So in either way, you can solve this question. Also, the options are set up in such a way that they will create confusion either in MiG or Tejas. Even in Rafale, it can create confusion because India has made a deal in the recent past, right? So this thing is confusing, no doubt. If you know, you cannot easily eliminate it without any knowledge. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. UPSC is forcing you to study in certain way. You have to be aware about current affairs. Anyways, so this is 4.5 generation. This is 4th generation. This is 4.5th generation, right? Rafale, as we know, is from France. MiG is Russian. Tejas is our own, right? So I have explained everything that is present over here. Yes, let us look at the planes or fighter aircrafts that are available right now. USA has the F-22, F-35, right? F-22 was the first one which was developed as a 5th generation aircraft. Russia has Sukhoi 57 and China has J-20. Okay. China has J-20. Russia has Su-57. It has F-35A, F-22. Okay. So I have discussed everything. This is just for your reference. You can pause the video and take it. We will share the PDF, by the way. Don't worry about that. So this is how it looks. I want to give you one example only. The stealth is very good because everything is now stored in the aircraft itself. There are doors here and it closes, right? So every missile and all the bombs are stored inside the cavity of the aircraft. Here you can see in the 4th generation, it is outside. So radar is able to detect them easily, and this is why it can hide better, right? So analysis part, I would say that it was current affair based, and there was a very big news in March. All right, I have bought clippings for you which shows this, and it's easy to do if you are an enthusiast or you have actually read about these countries or the aircrafts, because right now only 3 countries have 5th generation aircraft. So if you have studied something, the countries or the aircrafts, or you have read this news, there was high chances that you could do it. So there was news that India has, or let's say the Cabinet Committee on Security has given 15,000 crores to develop our own 5th generation aircraft. So this was in news in March of 2024. So let us see the 4th question now. The 4th question is, first is the identification of narcotics on passengers at airports or in aircraft, monitoring of precipitation, tracking the migration of animals. In how many of the above activities can radars be used? Only one, only two, all three, none. This is the recent pattern of UPSC, right? In which it asks the options in this way. So consider the following activities, right? So before this, I would like to explain just a little bit about radar. So radar does detection by radio waves. So it sends radio waves to the object, and once it reaches the object, the rays, they get distributed. Obviously the object that will deflect the rays that is coming towards it in different directions. So that is what is happening here. The radar is sending radio waves, and the object that will spread the rays, and some rays go back to the radar, and because of this it detects the speed and where the location is of the object. So this is how radar is used. Now if we see the first option, in this option the problem is that the words used are the problem, the word identification. Secondly, in aircraft, the point is, how will a radar identify which chemical it is? That's the problem, because it's in powder form or a tablet form. And if you have recently seen the movie Crew of Tabu, Karina and all, the point is, smuggling is difficult to detect without the help of human, dogs and everything, right? Dogs will sniff out the chemicals, and people can hide chemicals like these narcotics in their shoes also, right? So it's very easy to hide. So the point is, if they had told here the word had been detection, then this question, this statement would have created confusion, or they would have not included this. So these things are pointing towards answer no about this statement. Also, monitoring of precipitation. Obviously, this is done because that's how IMD tells about monsoon arrival and where there is a storm or not, right? Tracking of migration of animals. Yes, this is also used. There are technologies right now which can target animals and their migration. This is there. So only one, no. Only two, yes. All three, no, and none. So this is wrong. This is correct. All right. So I've explained everything. Yes, of course, on airports, if you have gone, you will never see radar in anywhere, right? So the point is, the things that are used are X-ray machines. X-ray machines, dogs are used, right? So this question is a little bit difficult because directly it is not mentioned in recent current affairs, and also in basics, sometimes we don't read in depth about the third option. We might read about this one, but the third one, it's mostly not studied, right? So I would term it as a little difficult. Answer is B, right? So the source is also given, you can check it out. Now let us come to the fifth question, right? The fifth question is based on the human body, the basic biology. Now this question was quite tricky as it is not directly available in any current affairs, and it's an applied question. So I would term it as a bit difficult. The question is, which one of the following is synthesized, this is a keyword, synthesized in the human body that dilates blood vessels and increases blood flow? So in the exam, if you have difficulty in knowing this word, and that's okay, you can by logic think that blood vessels, it is doing something to the blood vessels. So it increases the blood flow. Now how will the blood flow increase? If UPSC wanted, it could have just written dilate. They could have, which one of the following is synthesized in the human body that dilates the blood vessels? That's it. If they wanted to make it difficult, more difficult, they could have done that. So they have not done that. So hint is given here. So if you don't understand the word dilates, you can understand from it that it does something to blood vessels that increases the blood flow. So it makes it bigger. So if the size is this of the blood vessel, usually the size will become a little bit bigger. So there is more space for blood to flow. Now this happens naturally. Don't think that this is a bad thing. Whenever we have massage, a head massage, our mothers or fathers do chumpy on our hair, so that thing increases the blood flow to the scalp. So blood flow increase is a good thing. Even in exercise, our muscles need a lot of blood, and this thing, dilation, increases the blood flow to the muscles, and then you can run fast or whatever exercise that you are doing. So I hope you understand dilation. This is also done artificially by medicines, but that happens mostly when there is some issue with the body, especially cardiopulmonary issues. Let's say if somebody is suffering from some heart problem, and or there is some let's say blood vessels are blocked. A lot of cases are there. So in that case, dilation, a medicine is given. So the options are nitric oxide, nitrous oxide, nitrogen dioxide, nitrogen pentoxide. Even after explaining dilation, I don't think we can come to the answer. So that's why I term this question a little difficult. So the answer is nitric oxide. It is not nitrous oxide, it is not nitrogen dioxide, it is not nitrogen pentoxide. Right? So nitric oxide is the chemical that is naturally produced by the body for dilation. If we look at the other chemicals, nitrous oxide is a laughing gas. It is used by surgeons and dentists for anesthesia. Nitrogen dioxide is a pollutant. I hope you know this. So this is one option that could have been eliminated if you have done environment properly. Nitrogen pentoxide, this is used in production of nitrates, right? So I have explained everything and analysis is also done, explanation I have given, all right? So everything is told. One more thing I would like to add, that these three chemicals are not produced in the body. That is also, that's why I have highlighted the keyword synthesized in the body, right? So this question is done. Now let us see the sixth question. The sixth question is based on distributed energy resources. This word is important, distributed. Before that, let us see the question. Consider the following: battery storage, biomass generators, fuel cells, rooftop solar photovoltaic units. How many of the above are considered distributed energy resources? Now this word distributed, I hope if you don't understand, you will understand after this. There is another topic in science and technology which is called blockchain. Blockchain. Now that blockchain has a ledger, it has a register which is distributed. That is, it is available or it is processed in a scattered manner. It is not centralized. So the opposite of distributed is for example, the union government works at the central level. It is centralizing everything. What is decentralization? The third level of governance. The third level of governance. So that is another concept from which you can try to understand distributed if you did not know it before, right? So let us try to understand. This is how central concept looks. There is only one core and it decides everything, and the message is given to the participants who are at the end of the communication chain. Now in this structure, which is distributed, the processing is done at every part, at every node. This is called a node. So processing is done at every node. Now how will this apply to this one? So distributed energy resources, they are resources which are at the local level, which are available to the consumer. They can use it to generate their own electricity, and if they can do it, they can send it back to the grid. So you can see, this is a, let's imagine for this question, this is a thermal power plant or a nuclear power plant. This will be sending electricity to the houses. Over here, of course, there might be a grid. Of course, there is grid, otherwise it won't work. But there will be a thermal power plant. Let's say there is a nuclear power plant. But there are other things like solar panels. Getting my point? So there are things which people can keep at their own place, right? Basically, if you can imagine, we have, you don't need to imagine, you might have obviously seen it. There are meters at our home, electrical meters, which measure the consumption of electricity. So that meter, let us just imagine, this is the meter. Here is your house, here is your home, and here is the power supply, let's say the thermal power plant. Okay, so anything at this side of the meter, it is called distributed, right? So we have understood the terms, we have seen the examples. Okay, let us see the example. We have just seen one example. Fuel cell is another example. Battery storage like inverters, biomass generators, rooftop solar, we have seen that, right? Wind generation units, mini hydro schemes. All these things are at your disposal, and you can use them and you can send it back to the grid also, and you will earn some money, right? So this was there in the last year current affairs, and I believe there are a lot of concepts from which you can understand distributed, so it was fairly easy. The seventh question. The seventh question is about radioisotope thermoelectric generators. The question says, with reference to RTGs, consider the following statements. They are miniature fission reactors. They are used for powering the onboard systems of spacecrafts. Now you can ignore this term because it is just created to confuse you. RTGs can use plutonium-238, which is a byproduct of weapons development. Correct? So this question is about RTGs. Before trying to see the answer, let us understand what are RTGs. Let us break down this term, radioisotope. Now, isotope means a variant of an element which has more neutrons, like C14. So what is radioisotope? Radioisotope is the isotope which is not stable. So there is a stable isotope and unstable isotope. An unstable isotope, it decays, right? It releases energy, and because of that, carbon dating is possible by C14. So a radioisotope is an unstable isotope that releases energy by decaying. Thermoelectric, this means heat. Thermo means heat. Electric means obviously electricity, and we know generators that generate electricity. Right, so this is the concept. Now, what is the concept behind the functioning of RTG? Now, RTG has plutonium in it, right? So this option that makes it correct. So RTGs have plutonium-238, and that is decaying. It's an unstable isotope that decays and gives off radiation and heat energy. So that heat energy is used to create energy. So that heat energy is used to generate electricity. RTGs are used to create electricity, that is, they convert thermal to electric energy. So what happens is, let's imagine a rod. So half part of the rod will be plutonium. This is just an example to explain. So this plutonium, that will decay and it will increase in temperature. This part will be cold. This part will be cold. So temperature difference is created, and because of which electrons transfer from one place to another, and that's how electricity is created. This is a very basic explanation, which is also enough for this examination because they did not ask about that. So of course, why they have given the first statement? Because the confusion is created by this statement. All right. So we have seen the explanation. Yes, this was used in Voyager. Sorry, there is a spelling mistake. This was used in Voyager 1977 and Cassini in 1997. They are also called, there is another name which is called nuclear batteries. So this also creates confusion. UPSC could have asked this also. So point is, they are called nuclear batteries, but now here is the trick. They are neither fusion nor fission reactors. They are not reactors. Like the process that I told you, it converts thermal to electric, right? So we have understood the process. We have seen where it was used. We have seen isotope, radioisotope, right? And thermoelectric, everything. We have seen that. Now let us see the photo. So the photo is this. This is how it looks like. Plutonium is packed. They are thermocouplers and they will transfer the energy in between each other. So you can see the size of it, right? So this was in news. That is a very good thing because this is how you can understand the mind map of UPSC, how it is trying to ask questions. This was in Hindu Business Line. This was reported in July 2023. ISRO and BARC, they have joined hands to develop nuclear engines for rockets. Okay. Now they are developing what are called radio thermoelectric engines. Sorry, generators. Right. So this is the thing. That is why this was in news. They could have, made it harder by adding this strontium 90 also. So RTGs use plutonium 238 and strontium 90, right? And they release heat as they decay. So this was based on current affairs. This was fairly easy if you knew this. Of course, if you knew this, then it's easy. And why am I saying this easy? Because this was a big news and you had to prepare it. Okay. So the answer is B. The answer is all right. So let us see the 8th question now. This was the most easiest question Which one of the following word phrases is most appropriately used to denote an interoperable network of 3D virtual worlds that can be accessed simultaneously by millions of users who can exert property rights over virtual items? So even if Metaverse and other AI based, virtual reality based solutions were given, you can understand Metaverse from this thing, property rights, because Mark Zuckerberg himself told about this, and virtual world. So big data analytics is of course not the answer, because then the statement would have something related to analysis of large amount of data, or data would be present in the sentence. It's not cryptography, right? Why? Because there is no such term like hacking or security or cyber security, something like this. Metaverse, yes. Virtual matrix, no. Virtual matrix is fairly new term. It is not universally defined right now. All right. So the answer is metaverse, the C. Now let us come to the ninth. In the ninth question, in which of the following are hydrogels used? So the question is on hydrogel. Controlled drug delivery in patients. Second is mobile air conditioning systems. Third is preparation of industrial lubricants. Now while reading this, I want you to understand that there are certain keywords that are inserted by UPSC in this option, in these options. First one is controlled. They could have easily said drug delivery. Second is mobile. They could have easily said air conditioning system, right? Preparation of industrial lubricants. They did not say in usage in lubricants. They are saying preparation of lubricants. So it's a raw material they are saying, right? So what are hydrogels? Let us just see them briefly. Now hydrogels, they are polymers, all right, and they have wonderful property that they can absorb water and still retain their own shape. And they release whatever they have absorbed slowly, mostly water. So this is very important. This slowly is very important for drug application. You can release the drug as required. There are tablets right now that exist, tablets, not hydrogels. There are tablets that exist right now which are having the feature of extended release. Extended release, that means they don't release all of the component at this, very quickly in the stomach. They release it slowly. So they retain their shape whenever they absorb something, and they release it slowly. This is a wonderful property. And yes, I just discussed. So they are used in drug delivery. They are used in mobile. That means portable. All right. This word can be confused with smartphone also. So I believe they would have used the word smartphone. They have used the word mobile. So we will take it as something which can move. This can be used because they can absorb water and release water slowly. So they will keep the temperature low. Preparation of industrial lubricants. So yes, preparation, that is the keyword here. Preparation, yes. So in that it can be used, right? So the answer is 1, 2 and 3. Here is the explanation. Here are the sources. This will be provided to you. Now the analysis is, this was also from current affairs, because microplastics in environment, that is a very big topic and it's a big threat to our future generations. Microplastics. Now in that microplastics topic, you will read about hydrogels, because recently Indian Institute of Science had developed a hydrogel to capture microplastics. Okay. All right. So this is over. So this, this is the hydrogel. This is how it looks. There is a wound over there, and here you can see that they have applied this, and slowly it will release the medicine. Now hydrogel lubricants are there which can be used in the industry, right? Now let us come to the last question, that is question number 10. The question is, membrane bioreactors are often discussed in the context of ART, assisted reproductive technologies, drug delivery nanotechnologies, vaccine production technologies, wastewater treatment technologies, right? So before moving forward, I would like to point out just one simple thing, that somehow The fourth option seems a little different from other three, although all four options are related to health. First one is related to delivering, not delivery, but related to birth, right? Second is direct delivery of nanotechs by nanotech. Third is vaccine. So all three sound very similar, right? And this wastewater goes in a very different way, right? In, let's say, in the sewage treatment category it goes. So this is how you can just imagine, and this can tell you that this option might have something. Now in the examination, I know this is very difficult to do, and also I am saying do not attempt it this way. Although yes, the answer is the fourth one, but the point is this is after the analysis. And whatever I am telling you, the examination logical thinking, that point is just to bring you closer to an answer. It will never give you the perfect answer. It has every chance in going wrong also. Like I told you in the dwarf star versus giant star comparison, in that UPSC has made it in such a way that if you did not know about gravity, that is the concept part, you will not be able to solve the question. And even if you try to use such tricks, all right, although examination thinking is not a trick, because you are applying proper common sense and logical reasoning, all right. So what are these membrane bioreactors? Now this is having two words. Membrane is type of a layer, right? Bioreactors means something that has a reaction based on biology or biological things. So there is a chamber in which we have bacteria, protozoa, which digests the sewage, and that is sent to the membrane. Now this membrane separates solid from liquid, and that solid is sent back in this container, which is the bacteria and protozoa, and the water is taken out and sent to wherever we want to use it. So this is the role of membrane and bioreactors. Benefit of this is that a separation classifying unit or a separate classification is not needed. The membrane will classify between solids and liquids, right? So this is how it looks. This is the bioreactor. It has bacteria, protozoa. It acts on the sewage, and then that is sent to the membrane filtration, and then the water is taken out and the sludge is sent back. All right. So this is this. The source is given, and it was in current affairs, so it was quite easy, right? And the answer is D, right? So that is all from our side. Thank you so much.